So over here we have a couple different types of plants, including banana tree, obviously, some kale. Maddie, what type of lettuce is this?
Ooh, I believe that's called magenta, which is a good heat-tolerant lettuce.
So we're just into March. It's March 12th, which is a full moon, and we've just hit daylight savings time, so we get an extra hour of light. So from now on, it's just going to be more light, more rain, more growth. So these banana plants, they're starting to shoot new leaves. So anyways, back to the kale. Collard greens?
Broccoli.
Broccoli, sorry. That is broccoli. This is a collard.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for confirming that. And then sweet potatoes that have already flowered here. So, I mean, this is just one cube, which takes, so it's collecting water from a 200 square foot detached garage. And it has a 275 gallon collection capacity. So for every 2 inches of rain or so, you're going to fill up this cube. And the water from the gutters will go into a first flush diverter, which takes about the first 3 or so gallons and captures a lot of like any type of gravel or leaf pieces will go into that first chamber. And then as the water fills that up, a ball So it hasn't rained in a while. Probably going on 3 weeks now. So this is dry, but in here is a tiny plastic ball. So there's also a drip line. So as the water fills this chamber up, after it stops raining, this will slowly drain out. But I recommend cleaning, like maintaining the system every time after it rains. Raincube will have a feature that'll send you an alert saying, "Hey, guy, clean out your gutters," and then you could potentially earn points, rain coins for that activity. So this is being this is a leaf eater. Oh yeah, I'll demonstrate briefly. This is the first Raincube prototypes have already been tested through 2 tropical storms. So we'll see. I mean, this is pretty sturdy. It can handle the wind. And then this is once this first flush chamber fills, then the clean water will be coming in through this 2-inch pipe into the cube itself. And we've added another layer of protection, which is a pantyhose. No shear. Which, I mean, it does a pretty good job. And then so I got a special cap for the cube, and inside is a Dan, do you mind going and running and getting the lid with the sensor inside of it on the table? Also, this cover is very good for protecting against rain and wind and sun, as well as a good, yeah, it's a good drink holder. Okay, so there's a sensor attached to the Raincube computer, and the sensor is it's an ultrasonic rangefinder. This component costs about $3, and it's most commonly used with like robotics. Any type of remote control, or just autonomous robots will use this, and it sends out a sonic pulse that will bounce off like whatever solid object is in front of it, and it'll give back a reading like, okay, like 40 centimeters away or like 45 centimeters away. So it's determining distance. So we've developed a 3D printed housing which the sensor sits into, and it screws into, this is a 2-inch, and I'm saying it correctly, bunghole. Threaded, and this is standard on either the 275 gallon IBC totes or the 55 gallon food grade barrels, the blue ones,
which are way too small.
Well, I mean, it depends on your application, but if you're trying to do a backyard, yes, it is very small. But if you have an apartment balcony, then it's the perfect size.
All right, yeah.
Or an herb garden, Or a, yeah, just like a mobile, like, I mean, even for potable water, like 55 gallons is going to meet your needs. We're not there yet, but I know that guy will be happy to tell you about water filtration.
Water purification and water sanitation.
So yeah, no, totally. We already have the filters. We already have all the tools. We have everything. And what we have now is the internet with everything on it. So that's what's exciting, and this sensor is a big part of that. So that sensor is so this it's been fun to develop. Like the first one that we built a year ago was a 2-cube system, and it had like all these screwy bits and caulk and just a lot of stuff to keep it from leaking. And luckily, the smaller, more compact version has some nice like custom components. So like normally this would be a bunch of like PVC and glue, and it would just be really messy. But of course, because this cube itself, this thing is like industrial grade. This is what they use to ship around like red wine vinegar or olives or garlic, whatever. This goes in here, and they'll ship it around the world. So you can actually move this cube around with a pallet jack or a forklift, which becomes exciting because if you think about, well, who's going to be operating the forklifts in the future?
Robots.
Right. So you can start to see like, okay, well, how quickly can this be detached? How easily can this be connected? And let's say that this one is empty or this one is full, and my neighbor's is empty or my neighbor's is full, we can be swapping out cubes. So that's a cool feature that like I'm really interested to explore and to see like how that can become reality, because yeah, it's wild. So I'm gonna show you the actual computer itself, so we can all kind of come over here. So I'm just gonna check the water level because it's been running for a while. All right, so now we're at 28%. So we started at 30%, now we're at 28%. So this, yeah.
No, it's mine. I emptied it.
So we've taken off the protective. Oh, hey, cool. We got a friend. So the Raincube, I guess it's the mascot.
Of course.
And where?
Is it warmer or no? Is it just normal?
So we have a big heat sink inside. So, okay, inside this box is, here, I'm just going to turn this off real quick just so we can go for a while.
You're going to overwater.
Okay. So that was a hands-on, high-impact tutorial of the Raincube system, and now we're going to dive into the electronics. Do you have a question, Gaurav?
Yeah. Somebody's asking here, is it for drinking?
It depends on filtration. But what I would recommend if you do, this is usable for drinking. What I would recommend if you do that, it's up to you. First of all, disclaimer: don't hold me liable. Second is check the quality of the water, and third is invest in filtration. So in Central America, they have like clay pots. One of them is EcoFiltro. That is basically it'll take out most of the chemicals and bacteria that's in the water, up to 99%. So, but I built this for the garden because if you tell people the rainwater for landscaping, then they like can calm down and like relax and like the world's not going to end. So, first application is in the garden, is for landscaping, although it is for edible food, and I'm trying to focus the Raincube to supply edible food right now, be it like vegetables, fruits, herbs, whatever, because you can use drip irrigation and because you get so much like more value out of the water. Thanks for that question. Cool. So I'm not going to open this because that may fuck shit up. But I will.
Is that technical terminology?
That's technical terminology, yes. So
Somebody's saying it's high tech for plants.
well, I mean, it's actually low tech. That's the thing. All I've done here is connected a bunch of seemingly unrelated dots, but everything is connected, and it all starts with rainwater because that's how the Earth runs. Like just the ecology of Earth depends on precipitation. So this is just using tools that we already have, like cloud-based server architecture, using like mobile web apps using microcontrollers, and it's already there. It's just we're putting the pieces together, and what's exciting is that Raincube is a platform to put more pieces together with more people and more ideas. So that's been a part of the design philosophy of Raincube since the beginning. Now, inside of this box is a couple things. One is a custom designed printed circuit board. And that printed circuit board allows us to put on components, be it a transistor or a resistor or a heatsink or power relay. That allows us to make a more functional computer. That computer is attached, it comes with a cellular module. So this is actually connected to the internet via GSM SIM card. And this requires about 1 megabyte of information to operate every month, which is pretty low considering, I mean, as if you're looking at individuals consuming on their cell phone, they're requiring a lot more, like 10 times more or more. So 1 megabyte is actually not a lot of information. What else is cool is that we can attach to the Raincube other types of sensors, not just for tracking volume, but tracking humidity, tracking rainfall, tracking other pieces of information. And that information can then be sold to other aggregators, like weather. Weather.com makes their money off selling like weather data. So there are interesting business models on, not only is there's a lot of benefits tied into this. One of them is social. So like we're having the ability to like do this as a community. And the other is like just water has a value in itself, and information about that is also valuable. So back to the computer. We have a couple of different wires, and this is running off the AC power valves. So there's an extension cord that's currently plugged in inside of the detached garage, and I'm going to pull it now, but there is a power strip here that is powering the computer itself. There is also multiple wires that are telling, so inside of this computer is also a pump start relay. So when the microcontroller gets the command, it'll tell the pump and either solenoid 1 or solenoid 2 to turn on, which is convenient in terms of getting water pressure where we want it. The first Raincube that was built was a gravity-fed system. So we actually used a ball valve, a 20-volt ball valve, just opened and closed. And the water system itself is only maybe a little bit higher than this. So if there's like a incline in the irrigation line, you're not going to get any water pressure. Tony's like agreeing, like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. So the gravity system is very useful, and it can be done, especially if it is above the point of use. In terms of like if you have it on the second floor and you're using a shower on the first floor, it's going to get you like really good water pressure. But what I found is for irrigation, you want to have some type of pump. This one is a DC pump, but there's also 12-volt DC pumps, which you see a lot in RVs and in boats, right, Elaine?
Yes.
And yeah, so and that's on demand as well. So anytime that it senses a drop in pressure, it'll automatically turn on. This is just, like I said, optimized for backyards in the U.S. So using a pump start relay, I mean this is at Home Depot. These solenoids, you can just get them off the shelf for like $15, $20, including the housing. These you can disassemble these pretty easily. So if there's like sometimes like particles get in it, jar top. You can also, this little screw comes out. But yeah, I mean, it's like Legos. No different in terms of the modularity of it. And this computer, as we've designed it now, has four zones. So you can be watering up to 4 different plant types. So, hey.
Sorry. Racing cars too.
You have to start over for now, though.
No. We got to get a close up of Van Kim.
I don't know you, but you're in now.
Wait up.
So yeah, and then like I said, it's Legos. This is all part of, I don't know why. They tell kids to play with Legos, and then this is what happens, so.
We're big kids with Legos.
That's right. So the well system is, so for some growers out there, like we're growing vegetables, right? And there's different types of vegetables and different type of growing environments. So like I got these are used a lot in hydroponics, and I think the Raincube already has like 3 iterations of itself. It has a gravity system. We also are developing a hydroponic system, which is not that hard to accommodate. But you can actually just pour these directly into the water, and that'll yeah. So this is the Zeus juice, and it smells like
Zeus.
smells like something that's been rotten outside the Acropolis.
Zeus. Since the time of death of Zeus.
Yeah, so just drop a little bit of that in there, supercharge your plants.
Share this, guys.
I mean, I don't know. There's just a lot of things you can do with it, and I'm really excited. I think
Some love. We need some heart.
Wait, what
like
are the other ones, Anthony?
Heart us up.
What are the other
Heart
boxes
us
you
up.
have?
oh yeah, different.
We need to
I
do
mean,
So that's a fertilizer
do a plug.
that you can put in the water?
yes. It increases water retention and provides humic acids, which, but I think, yeah, but the Zeus juice is like just
All around.
growth enhancer.
Yeah.
But I mean, whatever. You could be Kendrick. Do you know if you could be putting compost tea directly in here, or would you want to spray that on top of the plants?
No, he's not a receipt.
It's in the root, so it's from the bottom out instead of out. Yeah.
Just depends on the tea itself.
So in the year that I've been doing this, I've yet to find somebody who says you shouldn't do this because. So why should I not? Like, why should we not be doing this?
That's a silly question.
Why should we not be Internet of Raining?
High tech.
Yeah, apparently it's too high tech.
This is too high tech for us.
I think it made
But
it
I feel like
friendly.
Facebook is way more hype than this.
Yeah, it's
I'm
super
doing it
friendly.
without the computer. Sort of.
I can Raincube from my toilet if I wanted to.
Make it
On
rain
my compost
anywhere,
toilet.
anytime.
Compost toilet. Yeah, I mean,
What I want is a bunch of cubes kind of all slaved to one of these computer systems.
right. So
So I don't have to
that's a
buy
good
one.
point, because the computer can support up to 4 watering zones, but you can attach however many cubes you want. You only need one sensor because you can input on the software side how much storage capacity you have. So if I say I have 1 cubes versus I say I have 10 cubes, it's still the same computer with the same sensor controlling the same amount of zones. So
So all I have to do is be smart enough to connect them so that they're all. I mean, I haven't figured out where I would plumb them together to do this.
So what I would, yes. So
I know
what,
other
eventually we'll get to a point where there is a Raincube home solution that is taking care of this like plot, right? Now, there's one computer that is kind of interfacing with all of the sensors and the solenoids. Then from that level, then we have a neighborhood network where we have multiple houses, multiple things connected, multiple data points. And from a technical side of things, that's where it starts getting interesting, because that's where you start getting into new forms of like internet, where if you have a bunch of dumb devices, low powered, solar powered, that are all like communicating over different frequencies. So like this is going to run on 2G. It's not going to run on, we're going to be on 5G. Like humans are going to be on 5G, things are going to be on 2G, at least like the built environment. But who knows, maybe there's like another G for like Tesla self-driving cars or Hyperloop. So, and
Does it have to be connected to locally to other Raincubes, or can it be connected to anywhere globally? Technical Raincube.
I would say if you wanted to run your own Raincube node, like there's ways to do that. It depends on who else you're connecting with. So Raincube is it's a global solution, but it requires local problems, if that makes sense. One of the reasons when rain falls, it falls into a watershed. So maybe instead of communicating like globally from a local distance, you're just communicating with people in your local watershed, because that's basically where you want to be trading your food and water.
Makes sense. Local.
Or just to the north of you. I mean, the pattern in Florida is cold fronts coming down and raining in the winter. So if my Raincube notices, hey, Tampa and St. Pete just got flooded, you know, what my Raincube should be able to do without me thinking or doing anything is water Jim's banana plants like crazy, because the monsoon's coming in 2 hours.
So IBM is working on this right now. They acquired the weather company, and they're applying that weather data to their artificial intelligence to be having more accurate, more complete information, because right now the current weather prediction models aren't sufficient. Or, I mean, they could improve. And
so I want to do this without paying IBM, is I guess what I'm saying.
Right, so
I think we're smart enough to do this without them.
So this is where I want to open up more of like the creative thinking in terms of like how to create that self-sustaining ecosystem online, because right now you can be doing open ledger systems. So basically what an open ledger is, it's normally you have a third party or somebody who's holding all the information, and they're the gatekeepers. They're the ones who are saying yes or no to whatever query that you have. What's cool about open ledger is that you can everybody is storing a copy of all the records on their local computer. So instead of having one person telling you the source of truth of information, you're having a bunch of people on that network all agreeing that yes, what you are asking is true. There is 214 gallons of water in this tank, or it rained, 2 inches yesterday. So all that information, instead of being stored in a central cloud run by Amazon, making money, which is great because you can pay a little bit of money for a lot of good work. However, I'm still having to pay like some type of data, some type of hosting costs as Raincube the company. If you get a Raincube, there's still a SIM card, there's still some type of like database server that you got to pay for. Even if it's Amazon and they're only charging you $10 a month, those costs eventually add up. So if you can say, oh, I'm going to sell weather data to whoever wants it via Bitcoin, this thing can actually be making money digitally. Not just the money that you're making from growing food, which the point of Raincube is actually create another form of value, which is rainwater. And that's how we should be valuing things in terms of like the environment runs on rainwater. We as the environment, as humans, should be running on rainwater as well. The question is, how do we effectively manage that value system? So that's where Raincoin, which is a rainwater backed digital currency, becomes really handy, because it's a more effective way than dollars and cents to be exchanging water and food resources locally. So the theory behind that is, okay, you're collecting rainwater. Every time that you convert rainwater from this tank and make it flow into the garden, you will earn a Raincoin. So that Raincoin has now been deposited into your garden. And that Raincoin can be harvested, that Raincoin can be used to buy other water, food, or services, such as a gardener. But we're not there yet. We're still operating in dollars. But I think that's where I want to be experimenting in the next level of Raincube. So we've built the singular Raincube. Now we are transitioning to a national Kickstarter campaign where we will ask 100 people to pay $1,000 to participate in a 100-person Raincube garden experiment. So the computer is retailing at $250. That includes a sensor, and then we will open source all the design files. So if you have an Arduino and you want to be running on the network, you can. You can also be buying the computer and the sensor, and then we open source all of the components. From the PVC to the filtration to the irrigation. Or you can buy the kit, or buy somebody to do it for you, or buy it for somebody else, or whatever. Just throw money and time and talent at this problem, and we'll be able to solve these water issues that we're having here, across the U.S., globally, and there's no real solution aside from just putting more and more money into centralized water infrastructure that's having decreasing marginal returns. Whereas this, once the fixed cost is recouped, which, I mean, it should take about a year or two to grow food to pay back the cost, everything on that is you're just paying the marginal cost to operate this network. So you're paying for the data, which eventually, if we can switch to a model where you don't have to pay for data, you get paid for data, and eventually get to a place where the Raincube creates value and is just kind of like, that's the way things are done. And that's where I think we go. So I am...
Anthony, say that
yes.
number. the number about 3 quadrillion
Yes. Okay.
versus 5. I don't know.
All right. So I looked online, and Tampa Bay. Oh God, this is gonna get me in trouble. Okay. No, it's not. It's true.
It was what got me excited.
Quick, break
Okay.
things.
You got it.
So Tampa Bay Water, which is the municipal water utility that supplies water to Tampa, to St. Pete, to a bunch of places, they provide 30 million gallons a day to its customers. Now, if we were to take every residential roof, multiply that by the inches of rain that we get every year, we would actually double that daily capacity from 30 million gallons to over 50 million gallons. And that's just residential, not even including commercial space as well. So the rain is there. The question is, how do we manage it, and how do we make it work for us? So thank you.
We can totally eliminate saltwater intrusion in Florida. I mean, think about that. You know, no one has said this. Everybody in politics yammers about it, but nobody has said how to fix it. You know, they just want to yammer. Well, this guy's going to fix it. Let's listen to him.
No. I'm not going to fix it. We are going to fix it. Yes.
Well, yeah, all of us are going to fix it.
And if it doesn't rain, do not blame me.
Well, yeah. It's going to rain.
It'll rain, yeah. The question is, when is it going to rain? How much is it going to rain? And that's why the internet is so important, is because it gives us that information feedback loop. Because on the Raincube app, there's a weather forecast integrated into it. So this is a really good opportunity for us to transition back to the computer. And then I'm going to hand off the microphone to Gabe. And he's going to give us a walkthrough of the Raincube garden interface.
Not there yet.
So Gabe, who is the Raincube front-end developer, came up with this cool interface.
Damn good developer.
That's right. Yeah, Gabe, where did you learn all that good development at?
This one's yours.
Pretty much shout out to the Iron Yard.
Yeah.
So you can. I'm going to pass this around. This is two hardware components. This one is a Raspberry Pi 3. So this is basically a computer, full-fledged computer. You plug it into we could plug it into that monitor and either put a Wi-Fi connector on it or plug it up to the Ethernet, and you got a computer. This costs $30 some odd. This is the next generation. This is similar design, slightly different. This is the this is the Raspberry Pi Zero. Zero, right? Okay. And now they've just come out with a new one, which is called the Raspberry Pi Zero W, which has Wi-Fi already built in, so you don't have to be adding a Wi-Fi dongle to your Pi. Anyways, I think I'm just showing you this to illustrate how quickly hardware development can happen, and we're already entering into the next stage of Raincube hardware development, which is going from hand-assembled, pull-through printed circuit boards to system mount technology, which is basically a robot putting components onto a board that's even smaller. So that's why we do Kickstarter, so that we can get enough people to say, hey, here's money for the computer. We can take that money and then do a production run. So instead of doing 1 by hand, we can do 100 by machine. So that drops the cost and efficiency even higher. And with that said, Gabe, why don't you come over and just give a quick introduction to the... So you guys might want to crowd in. If you've already seen this, great. If not, this is just showing the development, and Gabe can share his insights on what's going to happen next. Go.
So this is the new dashboard that we're working on implementing for the Raincube, and in the top left you'll see where you can see all of your current status as far as how much water you have and how much you used to date and stuff like that, how much Raincube coin you have. And then we have a cool little animation so you can easily visualize that. To the right, it's like Anthony was talking about earlier, you can see the weather forecast and see how much rain you're going to be getting over the next week. And it tells you like the percentage, the amount of rain you should be receiving, and all that good stuff. And then down below that, you can visualize how much rain you've collected versus how much rain you've been using in your different zones over the past 6 months. And to the right is where you would control the
Here, Gabe, why don't you stay on the other side?
Oh, sorry. Here's where you would control the different zones, and you can set how long you want the zones to run. And
so this is version 4. What's coming in version 5?
Version 5 is going to have more advanced zone controls, because these are pretty lacking, and hopefully just get you more data so you can visualize more things with your Raincube. And
Of what's to come, so you get the week report or the weather forecast for a week or so.
with this one, yeah, this one already has the weather forecast built in, but hopefully with the next one we can deliver even more data.
And what's nice about this version is that it shows visually how much rain you can expect.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of creating a more, so like the problem with Rainwater right now as it exists is it's not user friendly. It's just like it's complicated, and it doesn't have to be. So find out what users like and how to create a more human interface. I think is the goal next of the beta version. So this is what I think people should have, and that gets us half the way there. I'm just excited to see what other people can come up with.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's going to be the next issue, and there's going to be a couple more Raincubes going up around town in Tampa Bay. So we will be doing the next iteration. So Kendrick over in the corner, he runs a moringa operation among other things, including honey.
Ooh.
And
The one food that never goes bad.
him and his girlfriend Rose have created an urban permaculture homestead, and they've taken an entire house from like 0 to 1 in a year and a half.
Oh.
And one of the next installations of the Raincube will be happening at the urban homestead. So it's going to be cool to see how much production and abundance and just overall kind of self-sufficiency and communal efficiency we can get. So it's definitely
Up to 4 cubes, right?
up to 4 cubes and up to 4 zones. That's what I would recommend for just standard. Like this backyard can be running completely on 4 cubes of water. Now what I think would be interesting is over on the side of the house, so we're just collecting water from 200 square feet. Imagine like 1,000 square feet, this whole house footprint. All along this wall here could be all cubes. So you could fit 10 cubes back there, and then that would be enough to cover like the house water requirements for shower, sink, washing machines, potable water, and yeah, I mean, and it doesn't stop there. It goes beyond to like all these strip malls that we could be converting. All these closed sports authorities can be collecting rain, and
You could actually go vertical.
exactly, yeah. So when we start designing our homes and our buildings to be not just capturing rainwater, but to be in full sync with the sun and with wind and with our ecosystem and our watershed, I think that's where things start to get really exciting, because that's where we get to the point where we say, okay, we can realistically house 10 billion people on planet Earth without crashing it into a wall. So that is yet to come, but we're definitely getting there. And
Those designs are already in the work.
they're already in there, and there's a lot of people working on this problem. I think I bring a different point of view in terms of like the problem isn't technical. Like we can fix it technically. The problem is more culturally. Can we come together as like a species, or at least hell, just like as a block? Can we just come together and say, okay, here we go. We're gonna do this. We're gonna like act in sync. And I think that's what's missing a lot in the U.S., around the world. Like, what are we doing? We're just like hitting the next quarter's earnings report, right? So if we can like hit a number and make progress year after year, saying, okay, how do we get to something like 10 billion cubes deployed across the planet that are providing enough clean drinking water and food for 10 billion people, because that's where we have to get to. And centralized industrial scale isn't going to get us there. So that is my big data dump for the evening. I want to say a bunch of thank yous, actually. So I think I'll start with Vince Paglino. So that is my dad. So day
Dad
one.
extraordinaire.
Extraordinary.
And then and Susan Paglino. And Kim, who's technically my godmother, but untechnically my friend. And untechnically, it's not technical.
No technical.
And I'd also like to thank Alberto, who has been undergoing a pretty fun apprenticeship with Raincube, and will soon be graduating with 2 master's degree and a mountain of student debt, which will be forgiven. All will be forgiven. And Gabe as well for putting in the work on the front end.
And it's getting better, right?
Oh, hell yeah. It's going to be slick. Maddie as well. So Maddie actually helped plant the leaves, which we now have to harvest, which I totally forgot about, but that's cool. There's a salad coming. And I'll also thank Dan. Dan's been my friend since high school, and luckily did not end up in jail. Me personally, Dan, however, he just, it's okay. No felonies. No violent crimes, non-violent. Let's see, who else? I would like to thank Kendrick as well. So Kendrick's been a good friend since I've moved back to Tampa, and I appreciate that. And he also donated these moringa trees, as well as, you may not notice, but there are some logs down here that are like tree cuttings from moringa trees, and over the summer they're going to sprout. And we're going to have like 10 more moringa trees. So I'd also like to thank James. James was,
You're welcome. Thank you,
I think you were the first paying customer for Raincube, and you paid in Bitcoin, which is awesome.
Woo!
So,
Yes. The futurist, right?
yeah. And this is, I mean, I don't know, who was here at the last Raincube launch party? I think.
I was just.
This guy, no, that's Alex. What's up, Alex? So yeah, we started this a year ago, and it's still going, which is kind of cool. And I think it's going to go into the future.
You've got a lot more to go, man.
Yeah, and also too, this is the first time like getting. Last year was just me and a guy, Chris, who some people know. Chris is really awesome, developer, and now we are a distributed team of 10, and we're making it happen. We're planning on launching this on Kickstarter May 1st, and Jay, yes. So Jay, we've been doing. The director's cut will be coming.
I would put the camera on myself.
Yeah, we're gonna have a 3-minute. We're gonna have
I
a
got you on
3-minute
live.
Kickstarter video, but a 3-hour-long director's cut of Raincube with
3 hours, guys.
You haven't done my interview.
What am I,
yet.
Oliver Stone?
Then I'll make it 3 hours.
I don't cut anything. It's going to be however long this thing is. It'll be got that on video.
Oh, I'd also like to thank Tony as well. She's given Raincube a venue for promotion.
You are
and
welcome anytime.
For also
Thank you, Tony.
training up a local generation of developers, which is much needed. And and yeah, thanks for everybody for coming out. And I really appreciate this. And you know, this thing is gonna grow like what did you say? Sawgrass tomatoes.
Brazilian peppers.
There you go.
The most horrible thing possible. It's unstoppable.
We like that part.
So,
we like the unstoppable part.
Yes. Whether or not it's horrible.
So I would say we're gonna sell it, and the moon is going to come up, and we have beer in the cooler. We have plenty of awesome people here, so make yourself at home, and I think we'll eventually take it to the Independent or somewhere else. But let's drink beer first, and we can figure the next step out.
Woo!